let's envision a scenario where, say, Bitcoin matures in a decade or so to the point where it represents something in the order of 50% of the global money supply in value. It goes to, say, $1 million a coin or whatever, and now we have a $21 trillion market cap of Bitcoin, and so or it goes to 2 million, and now we have a $50 million market cap, and so now we start to have a cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, that rivals the global currencies of the world. And many central banks start purchasing it like they purchase gold to
show up their reserves.
For their reserves. And so we start to see payment networks springing up like the Lightning Network globally that many billions of people have adopted. And now, de facto, without any predetermined push for this, we start to see that the entire globe is adopting a cryptocurrency like Bitcoin and using it for payments and using it for savings. And it's operating outside of the banking system altogether. It has nothing to do with the banking system, nothing to do with the central banks. And now we're entering a new era in our evolution. In the same way that 500 years ago, we were wise enough to separate church and state and say it makes more sense not to have the church interfering in politics, in how the country is run. We now come to the point where we separate money and state. And the state is now completely out of creation of money supply. And that becomes a global aspect of our evolution and has nothing more to do, cannot be debased, cannot be manipulated, cannot be played with. Whatever Bitcoin you've got in your central bank will determine how well you are off within the global community. And so we now have a global money supply completely separate from state. And the United States is out of business in terms of having the world's reserve currency and being able to pull shenanigans with the shenanigans with the Cantillon effect, where they have they flood the market with trillions of dollars.
And then take it right now, suck it right now.
and so
creating terminologies, new financial terminologies overnight. No one heard about this, and it just makes sense.
The point is that nothing the Federal Reserve has ever done has worked out properly. Has never worked out the way they said it was going to work out. They've always been wrong. Check their historic record for what they say and what actually happens. There is no connection. They're either crashing or constantly.
So just replacing the U.S. as the global, currency and replacing it with Bitcoin, would that change actual policies surrounding the way?
You now have sound money for the very first time in history.
But it
will be the way the US dollar was before 1913 when the central bank of the United States was formed.
Oh yeah.
You know, there was sound money in the United States before 1913. It went away after the central bank was formed. Central banks have caused nothing but heartache and heartbreak.
But it comes back to the question I asked. You also still mentioned the fact that now you have the central banks that are now going to buy up all of the Bitcoin and hold Bitcoin in reserves as opposed to the US dollar. What changes in policy is there
to be honest with you, central banks.
It's replacing one currency with the next. And while we may start to say that, the cryptocurrency is decentralized, but if you still end up with the centralized powers,
yes,
who actually do have the finances to absorb most, if not all of it,
it becomes a manipulation.
Precisely.
The ultimate answer to that is just like Visa and MasterCard, central banks go away too. They all go away. In 50 years, there will not be a central bank. That will be history. They will be in the dustbin of history.
I disagree.
Totally.
I disagree.
Yeah. That's how I see the world progressing. I see it as inevitable. There is no other way it can turn out. It makes absolute sense to me.
No, there's always going to be the need for some level of control in the economy and some centralized authority.
I think here's what I
left to our own devices.
Go back and study the United States pre-1913.
I will do so.
Do that and then we'll talk.
Okay.
Because they had a great monetary system from the time the founding fathers began until 1913 when they got swung.
It was decentralized before then?
When did the Titanic?
It was...
Because there was a floating conspiracy about the Titanic. Titanic connected to the Federal Reserve formation. I went down that rabbit hole a couple of weeks ago, and it is wild.